at it.
Yeah, it looks like, we can't even see your head.
Rise, Bobby.
Right.
Rise up.
I can't get it to work. It broke?
Here, take this one. They'll fix it.
I've just been doing curls.
There you go.
All right.
Or I'm going home to break.
Your John Deere's got like a little.
Just sink down all the way.
Hey, man, how come your voice got deeper when you started walking away?
Yeah.
I got it.
Sit back like, what, here we go. Ooh, they fixed
We're gonna have to put cameras up here and see who's checking with us all the
it without making a lot of noise.
time. All right. Time is it? Oh, good. All right. Everybody ready? Are you ready? Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the regular city council meeting. The city of Colleyville will now come to order on April 1st, 2025 at 7:11 p.m. I will call the roll. Mayor Pro Tem Elder.
Here.
Councilmember Alfonso.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Richardson.
Here.
I'm here. Councilmember Graves.
Here.
Councilmember Gunderson.
Here.
Councilmember Rain.
Here.
All right, so the invocation this evening will be given by Pastor Martin Richardson. There you are, of the Colleyville Presbyterian, and the Pledge of Allegiance by city attorneys.
Well, thank you all.
Good to see you, buddy.
Absolutely. Let's start with a word from the scriptures. So Psalm 92 says, "It is good to give thanks to the Lord, to sing praises to your name, O Most High, to declare your steadfast love in the morning and your faithfulness by night. For you, Lord, have made me glad by your work. At the works of your hands, I sing for joy." We have a great God who does amazing things. And I know it's April 1st, it's April Fool's Day, and we would probably be foolish if we tried to start this meeting without a word in prayer. And so, let's pray. Heavenly Father, you are the creator and provider of all that there is, including the city and its residents. We pray that you would be present with the council this evening. Give them wisdom and discernment as they go about the difficult task of leading and serving the citizens of Colleyville. And all good things come from your gracious hand, and we praise you for all that we enjoy, and even the ability to meet this evening. And more than anything, we thank you for your gift of grace and forgiveness through Jesus Christ, your Son. We pray it in his name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here tonight. All right, we'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. If you'd like to speak, there are some half cards in the back. If you'll fill that out and then hand it off to the city secretary, Ms. Christine Levin, over to my left. I won't close any issue out. If anybody wants to speak, and if you didn't fill out a card, just raise your hand. I'll call you up and you can fill out the card later and give it to the city secretary. You have 5 minutes to speak. You can say whatever you want to on your mind, and we're here to listen to you. And also, we appreciate any comments that you do have. So be sure to indicate on the card which item you want to speak about, if you wish to speak, if you don't wish to speak, and if you're for or against it. And we'll have that for the public record. When you address the mic, please state your name and address for the record, and we'll go from there. So, also, I'd like to say thank you, Officer Justin Havens on the back, our sharpshooters in the house. So thanks for being here tonight. Good man. All right, with that being said, I am going to move to agendas, items, and announcements. So, the Cheeksburger project securing additional funding. A few months back, I and staff met with Michael Morris from North Central Texas Council of Governments seeking additional funding for the Cheeksburger. Am I doing it wrong? Did I skip a whole page?
Session resolution.
Oh, we do have it. Oh, we are going to, so we're going to go into executive session resolution right now?
Yeah, for maybe Lisa.
Okay. We'll have it. Okay, so we're gonna do this one, all right. I like skipping stuff, making it fun around here, keep people on their toes. Here we go. So we're going to do a consideration of any actions on Resolution R-25-5027. Well, another announcement, but I am sad to announce that our esteemed Public Works Director, Amber Beard, is leaving to accomplish a position as Assistant City Manager for the City of Azle. We wish Amber the best in her future endeavors and thank her for her service in Colleyville. The City Council feels strongly this position is significant to operations of the city, and we met in executive session tonight to confirm the city manager's appointment of the great Lisa Escobedo to the Director of Public Works position. So we have tonight an executive session resolution R-25-5027, approving council action on action regarding executive session items at the regular city council meeting of April 1st, 2025. Whereas the following discussion in executive session, and in full accordance with the requirements of the Open Meetings Act, the city council determines that the following action is the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Colleyville, Texas. Section 1, that the Colleyville City Charter, Section 7.05 reads, "There shall be an established and maintained a Department of Public Works. The Director of Public Works shall be the Chief Administrative Officer of the Department of Public Works. The Director of Public Works shall be appointed by the City Manager with the approval of City Council for an indefinite term." Section 2, that the City Council hereby approves the City Manager's appointment of Lisa Escobedo as the Director of Public Works. And so it is resolved. Now, a little bit about Lisa. Lisa is our Parks and Rec Director, and she will assume a new dual role effective April 5th. The City of Colleyville is fortunate, very, very fortunate to have exceptional leaders serving our community. I look forward to seeing Lisa's continued successes in this new role. And Lisa, you've done such a great job out there with your Parks Department and taking care of this city. And for you to step up and take this on too, we know that we're in good hands. So thank you so much. Council, anybody else have something that you would like to say?
I'm just super excited for you because I know you're going to just be amazing at taking on both roles.
Yes, congratulations.
All right, anybody else? Okay. With that being said, I'm going to open a public hearing.
No,
What?
ditto.
What'd you say?
All of us, ditto.
Ditto.
Oh, I didn't see you back there. I apologize. Working out, it's kind of broad now.
Getting wider
You mentioned at least 125
for the spot.
for the spot. So anyways, anybody else? Okay. I'm going to open a public hearing. A public hearing is now open. Would anybody like to speak on this executive item? See, nobody wishes to speak, so I am going to close it. And I will entertain a motion in a second, please.
Motion to approve Resolution R-25-5027.
Second.
I got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Elder and a second by Councilmember Alfonso.
Is it coming up for y'all?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it looks like
Okay.
somebody's screen up.
Mark, is there anything you can flip to here?
Yeah, Mark. Mark Alfonso or Wood?
Wood.
Okay. Woods.
It's on, Ron.
I don't know whose computer
Mayor,
that is.
Hold it up.
seeing that your voting software worked correctly, but we cannot view it. Let's make sure.
There it goes. Motion passes 7-0. I beat you to it.
Very good.
It's not showing on the big screen, is it?
Who's not showing?
Right.
Is it the
big
one
screen.
No,
for
it's not on the big screen.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Miss Lisa. And if you need. Okay. Now, the boss lady said I'm doing it right. So that's, y'all think that I'm the boss. You think he's the boss. That's the boss right there.
She's definitely the boss.
Absolutely.
Ringleader.
All right, so now I'm going to go back and read this about the Cheeksburger project, who secures additional funding. A few months back, I and staff met with Michael Morris from the Central Texas Council of Governments, seeking additional funding for the Cheeksburger Road project. I'm happy to announce that we recently received notice of the COG's participation in the project funding in the amount of $10 million. This is in addition to the $13 million from Tarrant County, $2.5 million from Congresswoman Beth Van Dyne, $500,000 from Commissioner Fickus, and the $1.4 million from the Segura Senior Development. Yet to be determined is the contribution from TRA related to the work they plan to do for the Cheeksburger corridor related to a new water transmission line. We hope to see as much as $1.5 million from their contribution. In total, we have secured nearly $30 million, $29.4 million in grant funding for this project. This is a testament to Colleyville's commitment to the pursuit of grant funds for public improvement projects. On behalf of the City of Colleyville and this council, I wish to thank Mr. Morris and COG for their investment in this project, as well as all the rest of them, Congresswoman Beth Van Dyne, Commissioner Fickus, former Commissioner Fickus, and then, just like that, I forgot her name right here, that lives in Colleyville.
Christy Gotti?
Yeah, Mrs. Gotti. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for helping us out.
Mayor,
Big feat. Yes,
could I just comment? I just want to compliment you and Mark Wood and the staff, because this is like 5 different fundings to put together. And if TRA comes, it'll be, I think, 6, if I count it correctly. But to put together a project with so much funding from different places, it's complicated, but it sure adds up, doesn't it? So I just want to compliment everyone for that.
thank you. Thanks. We got Mark over there. He's awesome as well. Just got a haircut too, didn't you, Mark?
You know, it's worth noting, I'm sorry, Mark, I gotta say it. When Mark was announced the 10 million, he was disappointed.
He was.
I couldn't believe it. I said, Mark, 10 million. He said, I wanted more. So we say to you, Mark, go get more.
There you go. There's the
Mark
chart.
went and got more.
And also there, I know it's not in what we're reading, but there's a question about Bedford, and Bedford at one time did say that they would help us. We still expect them to help us, and it's on record that they would at one time, but we just hope that we can continue this with our partners in another city beside us that's going to share Cheeksburger and the trails and all that great stuff that's going to happen over there. So hopefully we'll be able to add their name to this list before too long. All right, here's another exciting set of news is that the sales tax is up. Updated sales tax collection received in March continued a positive trend with a 1.18 increase over the same month last year. Total collections fiscal year to date are $223,074, or 8.47% above the budgeted amount. We are blessed to have an exceptional business in our city. Please continue to shop Colleyville. It makes a huge difference.
And I have a restaurant gift card update. The second annual restaurant gift card program was a great success with most of our restaurants participating in redeeming cards. In total, 4,600 gift cards were distributed with 3,385 redeemed to date. Redemptions to local businesses totaled $118,475. The top redemption locations are Gloria's, $19,390. La Hacienda, $7,560. Paleo's Pizza, $7,070. Kasai Hibachi, $5,950. Anna's Mexican, $5,880. Laveria, $5,810. Red Barn Barbecue, $4,935. Costa Vida, $4,620. Napa Thai, $4,480. Bellissimo's, $4,200. Mylan Vietnamese, $4,060. And Ruggieri's at $3,780. Last year, the program saw a higher redemption of $3,620 of a lower distribution total, $4,000, for a total disbursement of $126,700. This supports the theory that cars will continue to come in over the next few weeks.
And I'd like to talk about National Day of Prayer. Please save the date and plan to join us on Thursday, May 1st for the National Day of Prayer. We will hold a brief event in conjunction with the Ministerial Alliance from 7 to 7:30 a.m. that morning in the plaza. Breakfast refreshments will be provided. We are thankful to have such a vibrant faith community in Colleyville. I'd also like to talk about the Colleyville Garden Club plant sale on April 26th. The Colleyville Garden Club will be holding its annual plant sale on April 26th at the Colleyville Center, 5301 Riverwalk Drive. The sale will run from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. A large variety of plants will be sold, including perennials, herbs, annuals, and tried-and-true plants grown in the yards of the actual club members. Cash, checks, and credit cards will be taken, and be early for the best selection. The Colleyville Garden Club is a nonprofit 501c3 organization. Proceeds will benefit club beautification projects throughout the community and grants for youth projects. Visit colleyvillegardenclub.org for more information.
The spring concert series is this month. Join us for a free and fun concert series at City Plaza every weekend in April. The concerts will be held April 6th, 13th, and 27th from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. This year's first concert series promises something for everyone. April 6th, The King Lives with Elvis tribute artist Craig Parker. April 13th, the Roger Delaney Band with Bronson Lewis combines a powerful rock band with a Texas country voice. Expect a family-oriented performance of classic rock, Americana, and Texas country. April 27th is Waterloo. A celebration of ABBA has made it their mission to recreate iconic ABBA shows with all of their greatest hits, iconic costumes, and more. Attendees are encouraged to bring blankets and/or lawn chairs to enjoy the live music. Four-legged friends, which are kept on a leash, can enjoy these free and fun concerts as well. BYOB, no glass.
The Colleyville Car Show returns April 5th. Start your engines and join us for the annual Colleyville Car Show, Saturday, April 5th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the south parking lot at City Hall. Free food, free coffee, and free fun for all ages. We will have 15 award categories and new swag. You won't want to miss this fun event. Visit colleyville.com/cvcarshow for more information. See you at the car show. And also, I heard Adrian mention earlier that due to the weather, yeah. So look on the website or on social media, yeah.
Can't have those cars getting hailed on.
Right.
The utility billing transaction fee has increased. Colleyville uses InfoSend to generate and send out the monthly water bills. For water customers who are currently using a credit card to pay water bills through the InfoSend website, we have been notified that InfoSend's credit card processor, PACE, has increased their service fee rate from $3.95 to $4.65 per credit card transaction. The reason for the rate increase is due to the increased costs of processing from the various credit card brands. This would include the high cost of loyalty cards that allow for earning airline miles or points, or those that provide cash back. This increase went into effect April 1st, today, and all enrolled users on the InfoSend website were notified of the change. An alternative to passing through the credit card fees to our customers would be including this cost in the water rate structure and having the city absorb the full amount. However, this would pass cost on to all customers regardless of payment method. The city does allow other options to pay, including bank drafts, paper checks, cash, a 24-hour drop box, or the customer can submit online through their own bank, which are all free options to the customer. InfoSend also accepts an online ACH option, which is $1.95 per transaction, and pulls the payment directly from the customer's bank account.
Larry Wright, the right man for the job. Recently, the city manager's office received the following message from Woodland Hills HOA President Helen Sink. She was very complimentary of the responsiveness of Larry Wright and the PW team overall. The message reads as follows. As always, I'm so impressed with the responsiveness of the city of Colleyville. Jerry, you helped get my inquiries to the right people quickly, which is appreciated. Larry Wright and his crew came out the same day and did a couple of repairs. Most impressive was the bridge railing repair that has been bent for many years. Larry came up with an idea that cost next to nothing for the city, and it worked perfectly. Also, special kudos to Larry Wright for spending time with me to research drainage pipes to determine what feeds into Melrose Park so that I could address one of our residents' concerns. Larry did a great job of showing me all the details and helping me resolve the problem. I know you get more complaints than compliments, so I thought I'd take a moment to let you know that Woodland Hills appreciates the good work you and your team have been doing for our area and the city of Colleyville. City engineer Larry Wright embodies the Colleyville spirit of cooperation and exceptional service. Thank you for leading by example, Larry.
Right over there. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate you. All right. Well, I have one proclamation, and that is the proclamation and recognition of Arbor Day, Earth Day in the city of Colleyville. So I would like to meet the Parks and Recreation Director and the Utility Department Director, Lisa, Public Works, Lisa Escobedo.
Should be utilities night.
I said the wrong one.
She does it all.
Yes, she does. Miss Lisa Escobedo, you heard us talk about her, but she was in the back, but this is her. This is a wonderful, wonderful lady, so talented, and she runs the rec department down there and challenges any basketball player that wants to come down because, y'all don't know it, this was a superstar in basketball, weren't you? What was your number? 23. Don't mess with 23. That's right. Well, we're going to do this proclamation over the Arbor Days and have you say a little bit about it. So I'm going to do this proclamation first. So this is a proclamation from the mayor. Whereas the city of Colleyville is proud of its natural resources and neighborhoods and seeks to protect the improvement of our community through the action of citizens, schools, governments, and businesses working together to improve the community and the environment. And whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture set aside a special day for the planting of trees and called this day Arbor Day. And whereas Earth Day was created in 1970 and is an annual reminder of the constant need for environmental activism, stewardship commitments, and substantially efforts. And whereas trees reduce the erosion of precious topsoil, reduces heating and cooling costs, moderates the temperature, cleans the air, produces oxygen, and provides habitat for wildlife. And whereas Arbor Day and Earth Day is observed throughout the world and has become a day dedicated to the beauty, usefulness, and preservation of trees, and encourage advocating for the health of the planet. And whereas the city of Colleyville is celebrating their 27th year of being designated as Tree City USA Community. Now, therefore, I, Bobby Lindemuth, the mayor of Colleyville, the city of Colleyville, Texas, on behalf of the city of Colleyville Council, do hereby proclaim April 27, 2025 as the official Arbor Day, Earth Day in Colleyville, and call upon all citizens to promote responsible environmental stewardship and commitment to building a better world today and for future generations. So I'd like to hand this off to you, and I'd like for you to say a little bit what you got going on and what kind of neat things you have planned for the community.
As the mayor said, we are celebrating our Arbor Day and Earth Day on April the 27th in conjunction with Earth Day. And so we will be handing out free saplings, tree saplings to help promote planting of trees. And so we'll also be handing out some Arbor Day swag. So we really encourage everyone to come out and help with Earth Day cleanup as well as planting any trees throughout the city.
All right. So we're fixing to take a picture? Hey, council, come on down. Let's take a picture with Lisa. Y'all want to be with a rock star, I can promise you. This is kind of like being with George Strait right here. So, the George Strait of Colleyville. I don't know. I've heard her hum a line or two. So. Thank you, Miss Lisa. Congratulations again. we will be moving on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item number 4, which is a consent reading and public hearing of Resolution R-25-5028, approving city council action under the consent items at the regular city council meeting of April 1st, 2025. Whereas the city council has taken action on certain items on the agenda under consent items, now therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Colleyville, Texas. Section 1, that the agenda decisions approved by the city council action under consent items as follows are hereby adopted. A, approval of the minutes of the regular city council meeting of March the 11th, 2025. B, approval of the minutes of the regular city council meeting, approval of the Julia Two Loves Library statute to be donated to the Stark family. C, approval of professional services agreement with Kimberly Horn and Associates Incorporation for the Cheeksburger Road Reconstruction Project in the amount not to exceed $843,000 and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement. D, approval of the Third Amendment to the Regulated Regional Municipal Court Judge Agreement. E, appointing members to the Colleyville Center Advisory Committee and the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And so, anybody have any questions over the last meeting that we had? Okay, so I don't see anything. So we are going to talk to, who's doing this one right here?
Jack.
Jack is. All right. Come on down, Jack. It's our library coordinator, I guess our
All
library.
right, good night, or good evening, Mayor and Council, sorry.
You're not used to being here this late.
No. I know. Jack Pulaski, Library Director. Item 4B will allow us the opportunity to return a donated statue, which is no longer on display, back to the family. Any questions or comments?
Good. Scott.
No, I've enjoyed that statue. I know it's time for change, but we really appreciate, them donating that, and I've noticed it a lot over the years, so we appreciate it.
Sure. All right.
I sent them those comments, and thank you so much for letting us use that for so long, and we appreciate the Stark family really very much for thinking about us.
Agreed. Thank you.
Okay. Next will be Mr. Larry Wright.
So tonight in the work session, we talked about this Cheeksburger project, and then the mayor highlighted some of the highlights during announcements. And so staff is seeking approval for the professional service agreement with Kimberly Horn for the preliminary design of the Cheeksburger Road and Trail Heritage Avenue to Bedford Road project. And this project will receive funds from NetCog, which will be administered by TxDOT and HUD, and therefore the project will be designed in accordance with federal and state requirements. The preliminary design includes the following: establishment of design criteria for the project by coordinating with TxDOT, environmental services to meet TxDOT compliance. We have to do an environmental report on this project. Surveying and geotechnical services, subsurface utilities, and coordination with the franchise utilities. We don't want to hit any of those and cause people to be without their internet or water or other things. Preliminary roadway, water, sewer, sanitary sewer, and storm drainage designs in coordination with franchise utilities, Trinity River Authority, U.S. Department of Housing and Development, and the TxDOT Department of Transportation.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Or
I'm glad to see this moving on. Just to let everybody know, TRA was already planning to come in and put a brand-new water line in, which would have disrupted that road really bad, and they were just going to lay it back down and let it go. And what a great opportunity for us to rebuild that road correctly and put the sidewalks and trails on there with the proper drainage. And so, again, we go back to what we talked about in the announcements, and thanking and kudos to everybody that has helped us on this, and more that's yet to come. And thank you, Larry, for working through this with the agencies. Do you have something?
Yeah, Mayor, just want to make note of the fact that the design concept for this road improvement will be a 3-lane cross-section, which means 1 lane in either direction with turn lanes added throughout to provide for a better flow of traffic. So the road is not being expanded dramatically, but it will provide for pedestrian sidewalk and trail and turn lanes at much-needed locations at intersections.
So a lot like the Glade Road project in a lot of ways.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Larry.
Uh-huh.
Appreciate it. All right, next up, the Assistant City Manager. I'm just going to have all of the gaffes tonight, Ms. Adrienne Lothry.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. Adrienne Lothry, Assistant City Manager. The item before you on the consent agenda is the third amended judge agreement. For those that are not familiar and have never had to interact with our court system, our court here in Colleyville is actually a joint municipal court. We were the first one in the state of Texas. So the cities of Colleyville and the cities of Keller share a court and also share a judge. So all of these terms and updates to the judge agreement have already been communicated with Keller. They're on board and will be taking similar action at one of their upcoming meetings. But our original contract with Judge Montgomery was executed in 2021. We did an update related to some things to allow for her to be designated and participate in TMRS, which is our retirement program. And then last year, we went through a second amended agreement that provided for a 3-year term and a compensation change. So this third amended agreement that is before you this evening makes a couple of changes. One is really related to magistrate duties. So right now, those duties for Colleyville and Keller are covered as a component and really wrapped into the $150,000 annual compensation that she receives from Colleyville and Keller. And then because she's also judge for Southlake and Roanoke, she receives a separate stipend from those communities. So the new terms provide for a total of $38,000 for those magistrate services for all 4 cities. And if you carry forward the stipends that are currently provided by Southlake and Roanoke, that would provide an additional $18,700 paid for by Colleyville and Keller. The other change there would be to make it a much cleaner process and have those payments completely processed through Colleyville, as we're already the entity that is paying her for her primary compensation. The last aspect is related to compensating associate judges. Right now, anytime Judge Montgomery's on vacation or out, it is incumbent upon her to compensate associate judges to step in and backfill her role. Our new terms in this updated agreement provide for a 2-week vacation and vacation allowance, where during that 2-week annual vacation allowance, the city would then pay for any backfilling from associate judges rather than it coming out of her salary and fees for at a rate of $100 per day. So these terms were discussed with the Keller city manager and found to be agreeable. Judge Montgomery came in and had a great conversation, and I think everybody has had positive rapport and, nothing but compliments with the way our court has functioned and interacted, and we recommend approval of these contract updates.
Judge Montgomery is special. She's very, very good at her job, and I think these little bit of tweaks that she wanted done is well worth the money and well worth her ability to keep doing what she's doing. She's great. Yeah, she is a Colleyville resident as well.
That's true.
And Mr. Mayor, and most people don't realize the magistrate responsibility is 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And so it's a serious obligation, and we appreciate the fact that she's available literally
Anytime.
on call at any time.
24 hours a day.
Yes.
Yes. Anytime the police need her, she is
My
there.
understanding is she gets calls a lot of times late at night, in the middle of the night, for warrants and things like that, so she works all hours. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Ms. Adrienne Lothry, Assistant City Manager. Now, we have the City Secretary, Ms. Christine Lovin.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Christine Levin, City Secretary. This item provides for appointments to the Colleyville Center Advisory Committee and also the Parks and Recreation. For the Colleyville Center, there are 2 place positions at large that would need to be appointed, and there are 2 civic organizations. The Lions Club has asked that Lewis Miller serve as their representative, and the Colleyville Garden Club has asked that Ann Morgan serve as their representative. For the 2 positions, we've received 4 applications. Those, of course, were sent to you for your review. For the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, there are 4 place positions. The city received 8 applications. And when you make the motion tonight for approval of the consent agenda, if you would just give me those names for each of those, and we'll add those to the resolution. You have any questions? Both of these boards will be appointed for a 2-year term, so it'll be to March of 2027.
So council, we've talked, a couple of us have talked about it. You guys have had, I think you've had your discussions in accordance with the law. So we talked about keeping our incumbents on. Fantastic job. And then probably adding Miss Emily Aguilar to the Colleyville Center, and then Christopher Carr to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. So any discussion on that you'd like to have before we make those suggestions? Okay. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to open a public hearing. A public hearing is now open. We have no cards. Would anybody like to speak? Okay, I'm going to close a public hearing. So I'll need a motion and a second, please.
I'll make a
wait.
motion.
I'm sorry, just make sure do you want that motion with those names?
Yes, that's what she said.
Repeat.
No. All right, we'll just unplug that, dude.
So that you don't have to recall them, let me just verify that the for the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, you wish to appoint Julie George, John Hildebrand, Eric Crescent, and Christopher Carr. Is that correct?
That would be in your motion.
Okay, if I can remember that.
No, no, just, yeah.
Okay, okay.
Just read it, if that is correct,
That's correct.
then we'll approve.
Okay, so just the resolution, that's all I need to, okay. So make a motion that we approve Resolution R255028.
Second.
All right, so I got a motion by Councilwoman Gunderson and a motion is passed 7-0. Okay. So we're moving to 5A, which is the first reading and public hearing of ordinance 0-25-2322, repealing ordinance 0-10-1741 in its entirety and amending the zoning ordinance and the official zoning map of the city of Colleyville, Texas, by changing the zoning on 10.48 acres on Lot 1, Block 1, Tinker Crossing Edition, Lot 1A, Block 1, Kathleen's Art Cafe Edition, and a Lot R14-3, Industrial Park Edition, located at 1801 Industrial Boulevard, 6301 Colleyville Boulevard, and 6255 Colleyville Boulevard, from the PUDC Planned Unit Development Commercial District to the PUDC Planned Unit Development Commercial Zoning District, providing a penalty of fine not to exceed the sum of $2,000 and providing an effective date. So Big Ben, you got it.
Thank you. So this is a rezoning, as you stated. It's 1801 Industrial as well as 6255 and 6301 Colleyville Boulevard. Here's an aerial map of the property. So it does include the existing self-storage facility and then the property that extends west to Colleyville Boulevard, which used to have some buildings at that location, but were removed a few years ago. So it's largely undeveloped there, adjacent to Colleyville Boulevard. It does extend down south to Oak Point Drive as well. So it does have a mix of planned unit development, commercial zoning, as well as CC1, which is our village retail zoning district. And it is all part of the Colleyville Boulevard corridor designation on our future land use map. So here's some different perspectives of the property. The primary request for this is to add some luxury garages to this site. Here's a street view from Google Maps. So again, there used to be a couple structures here that were removed a few years ago. So this is the proposed site plan, which includes 4 new buildings. Those, again, would be for luxury garages. Those are opportunities for somebody to purchase the space. Primarily, it's intended to park their car collection or other high-end collectibles and have a place to, I guess, recreate a little bit as well, but it's not intended for any residents. It is strictly, a garage space that they could use primarily for a car collection or something to that effect.
No living quarters.
Correct. No living quarters would be allowed, and we wrote that into the proposed ordinance as well. So 4 individual structures, I believe it's 47, I might have that unit count wrong. We'll say approximately 40 units. The applicant has a presentation. He'll be able to give you those specific numbers. Here's some elevations of the proposed building. So it is a mix of stone and brick. You can see that they do have overhead garage doors. This is building 1. This is the one that is adjacent to Colleyville Boulevard. The top elevation is the one that you would see driving down Colleyville Boulevard. So the garage doors on that building are on the back side, the east side. And then going into the other buildings, they're double stacked, and so they will have the garage doors on both sides, but they would be behind building 1. Building 1 is proposed to be a 32-foot height at the top of those parapets, the tallest point. Building 2 and 3 have a height proposed of 29 feet, so it is reduced a little bit as you go to the east. And then building 4, the last building, has a height of 27 feet. But again, very similar designs for all of them. These are the examples of the use that you would expect. So they do have area to have vehicles stored. There is some mezzanine space that can be finished out, maybe for kind of a small office area or something else. The applicant has provided a lot of the support documentation as well, including the drainage information, the utilities. We have reviewed the plan. They are proposing a few modifications that, being that this is a kind of a unique project, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. They have looked at the tree preservation and the landscaping as well. There is an intent to try and preserve quite a few of the trees up along Colleyville Boulevard, as well as along the south boundary. They are also intending to plant quite a few trees. I know that they've worked with the adjacent property owners, the residential properties along the south, and they are intending to provide a pretty significant screen, fill in the gaps where trees don't exist today, to make sure that there is some suitable screening there from this use to those residential uses. So here's the language. Primarily it's to allow for the existing self-storage to remain and then to add the luxury garage condominiums. They do also have that open space that they were calling Lot 1, that they are proposing to have CC1 uses allowed for that lot. So that would be primarily retail or office. The anticipation is that we would expect retail at that location, being at a signalized intersection. Again, so 3E does clarify the no overnight habitation would be allowed, so they would not be for residential use. Talked about the building design, so that is, they would have to generally be consistent with those elevations. And again, the 3 different heights, and it does have the minimum 90% masonry, that would be brick and stone. The landscaping, they do have a landscape plan. And then the parking and access, 7D does talk about no overnight outside parking of any vehicles. One recommendation from the city manager was to make sure that that includes any outside storage at all. And so I'll make that modification before the second, or I will make that modification for your consideration for the second reading. And then some additional language regulations. One that I wanted to point out, there is an 8-foot masonry wall required adjacent to the residential, but that's in here as well. And the applicant has shown that on the plan, so that is in compliance currently. We did send our notifications out to surrounding property owners. We did receive 2 responses, both in favor and none in opposition. Staff was neutral on this request, but this was reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission at their March 10th meeting. They did recommend approval by a vote of 6-0. There were a few residents that did speak during the public hearing, and they were in support of the request as well. I know I went through that very quickly, but I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
I just want to say, Sky Thibodeau brought this a while back, and has tweaked this and moved it around, and has been very cordial with the neighbors behind, and listened to everything they had to say. And man, that right there is, it just speaks volumes that they're out here championing this project. And so my hat's off to Sky for his hard work and the adjustments that he did make. There's other concerns and stuff about some knick-knack things that we'll bring him up and ask him. But it was good to hear from Ms. Barbara, and then her husband and a couple of other neighbors that were very vocal about it. And it was good to get their feedback. So kudos to you, Scott.
Yeah, Mayor, could I just add to that too? I'd just like to compliment Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes.
They're very patient in getting this project and working, like you said, with the neighbors and the developer. And they did a great job getting it to this phase for City Council. They did a great job.
Any other questions? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have a couple questions. First, on Lot 3, why are we rezoning what is already existing there?
So I think the best way to explain that, so currently you see the PUDC boundary in the kind of salmon color. So we're incorporating what currently has CC1 into the overall PUD. So really, that's the easiest way to explain it, but it's easiest to just replace what we have existing with a new one. And that allows us to incorporate the additional property. At the same time, we're just recognizing that we already have existing self-storage uses on that property, and we're able to delineate that in the ordinance as well.
Just
Yeah.
best way to explain is we had a parcel that had approvals to do some things. They had done so on a majority of the property. They still had some privileges to do more on that property, and said, well, no, on the remaining piece yet to be developed, we'd like to do something different. And so because it's all was approved as one big PUD, we went back and amended that entire PUD to reflect what we think is a higher quality use on this remaining piece. And so that's why you still had some of the existing old uses, the storage. And that's part of the challenge here, is that the owner had the right to do additional storage on the remaining parcel. He had an approved plan. And so this was definitely, as been mentioned, a compromise and an exceptional effort by Mr. Thibodeau and his client to make the best project and do so in conjunction with the neighbors.
Right.
So does that mean that all the restrictions will apply to the existing section?
Specifically, as far as,
Yes.
well, yeah, no overnight stay, yeah.
Outside.
Okay.
But that still, yeah, so the landscaping, the site exhibit includes all of the existing area as well. And so, yes, the boundary would apply to this entire area. All the regulations, yes, would apply.
Okay.
Outside storage, that's something.
Right. I think it's already not allowed without special approval by the city council, but we're just,
Okay,
that's what we'll write in for your consideration for second reading.
okay, all right. But Mr. Sky, you want to come up and give us your presentation? Thank you, Ben. Bill, state your name.
Good to see everybody. Good to see staff as well.
State your name for the address and your address.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Sky Thibodeau with Thank You Development. My address currently is 2459 Embleton Drive in Louisville, Texas. So again, thank you for that. It has been a kind of a long road. We've had some hiccups on our team as well internally. Unfortunately, we lost a significant team member over the summer, which really caused a big lag, and we were sad for that to happen. But you know, we remain steadfast in what we're looking to do. It's funny, these projects, the ones that kind of take the longest, they involve the most citizen input, are the ones where I have new friends on my phones at the end of the day. You know, I remember one in Arlington where a golf course got removed backing up on these folks' homes, and I was the lucky consultant getting to sell the new development coming in over the golf course, and man, they hated me day one, but now, you know, I still talk to them, understand what kids are up to and everything these days, so it's pretty fun. So anyway, this is for Colleyville Luxury Garages located intersection of Tinker, Oak Point, and Highway 26 to do some luxury garages here. So what is a luxury garage? I think Ben really explained it very well, what we're looking to do. The pictures, actually, they tell you exactly what we're looking to do. But we've also seen units where folks use the upstairs mezzanine as kind of an office during the day. And they've used the bottom floor as a workout area, or that we've seen them be used as arcades. Some folks, they have a bunch of old arcade equipment from the 70s and 80s, and they've kind of hooked up their man cave to do that. So I guess they're not, you know, making their wives and all that upset during the day. So again, these each unit will have a mezzanine. I'll get into more of the technicals here. Our units show about 1,250 square feet on the footprint, with about a 250 square foot mezzanine above, and that can actually be extended to about 400 square feet, so long as you design that appropriately. Again, the benefits for here, we just talked about the Colleyville car show coming up, so this would be a great place to have some local folks that keep their cars here locally. It's a very market-specific use. I have a slide later on that shows you the markets that this works very well in. You'll quickly understand what markets kind of command this kind of use, and they do very well in. Attracting a certain demographics, I'm sure we all understand what that means with specialized needs, lifestyle, a certain lifestyle that people are looking to have. They're highly customizable and personalizable. Of course, there'll be state-of-the-art security for the assets there, and these are very hard to find. In the last, I want to say 8 days, but it's been actually 9 days. I've had 3 outside requests to residences in Colleyville just asking, when are these coming to the market and how much are they and how can I get on a list to purchase one? Here's the PD site plan. So Councilman Elder, to answer your question, we want to make sure, or further what Ben was saying, we want to make sure the existing self-storage stays in compliance with what's there. It was developed a long time ago, so keeping the PD there allows it to stay in conformance as we develop around it, essentially. So that's essentially why we want to keep this PD and didn't section it off too much. Showing the 4 buildings that Ben talked about, approximately 62,500 square feet of floor space. It's 49 individual units that we're looking to have right now. I don't think we can squeeze that much. We've looked to extend the ends, but once we started talking to the neighbors, understanding kind of the setbacks that everybody wanted to see, we thought 49 was a good number and fills up the property pretty well. We also wanted to make sure we had some additional landscape areas on the north and south sides of the structures to add that additional landscape to the property, given the kind of design that you're seeing. Lot 1, we initially showed some neighborhood servicing, commercial, and potential restaurant. It can hold about a 5,000 square foot restaurant right now, parking about 50 spots for that restaurant. Once you kind of introduce other uses like a Milan, where you have the eye doctor, and then you have the restaurant, you can get up to about 6,000 square feet of additional space. So pretty sizable development. It can definitely come in Lot 1. We want to keep that CC1 and for retail commercial type purposes.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So on the back side of your buildings, separating the storage and the parking garages, I remember it in a concept a while back, it had a retaining wall back there. Does it still have one? I know it kind of goes uphill, but I wish I could draw. Well, there you go. I can draw it. Can you see it?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there used to be a retaining wall back there at one time.
There will be some slope there. You know, the type of engineering, the way we're going to grade this property and drain it, you know, we've done a lot of preliminary. I don't think we're going to have a wall there anymore. The fire lane needs to get back there. I think there is going to be some slope and some ramping, but I don't believe we're going to see a retaining wall back there.
We're
no.
just not going to see a bunch of egress and stuff coming out of the storage going through that.
No, it won't be designed for that, no. The folks that actually have units at the existing self-storage, they won't have the pass line to get through the garage development, so there won't be any cross traffic or anything like that.
Okay.
Parking was another thing I need to make sure I mention, because that was a conversation that came up a lot, especially at P&Z. So right now, we're showing 25 spaces, kind of oriented. You see the parallel parking stalls on the north and south side. We've designed it, you could see the fire lane cutting through the buildings. We've designed it to where, if you imagine the striping and the faces of the structures, there's enough room actually where you could actually draw some stipple in there and show a conforming parallel space. Of course, we're not showing that because we don't want that to conflict with maneuvering here, but if you can imagine, say you owned one of these units, you could drive up, get yourself safely out of the fire lane and park right in front of your unit. If you had a guest come with you just to check out my collection, all that, they can park in a parallel stall or something like that. So we've designed it to make sure that every individual can park right in front of their stall, along with kind of 0.5 for a guest, kind of like a multifamily type parking ratio, something like that. Ben discussed our buildings, what we're looking to do. We met with you last summer. What we're looking to do is kind of design building 1 to where when you drive by along the boulevard, Boulevard 26, you really don't know what's back there unless you've actually gone into the site and inquired what's going on. Of course, the name will be, there'll be signage out there, but if you were to just quickly drive by, you might think that you're just looking at some kind of a mixed-use retail with office or something above, something like you might see on the east side of the South Lake Town Center or something like that. Again, I want to talk about the heights here. We initially showed a little bit lower on the ends in the center, and we talked about creating more of a grand structure and creating parapets and some kind of dramatics here. So we initially showed the 32-foot, kind of the 5-foot parapet on buildings 1, 2, and 3. But after we talked to the neighbors, they wanted to make sure that their views to the north wasn't being blocked. Mainly the folks that abut the property that own the townhomes right there. So we wanted to respect that. We dropped buildings 2 and 3 down 3 feet to 29 feet. They were originally showing 32 feet. You could see we're looking to have glass doors. We think that'll be a very nice some concerns about reflectance and things like that came up. These will be tinted to a commercialized degree. Any kind of reflectance towards the neighborhood, that won't happen. The sun kind of just dips to the south, so any kind of something might just maybe bounce to the north a little bit. The buildings are so close together, we're honestly not really too concerned about reflecting from place to place. We used to office right off Industrial and had a little bit of an issue in our office with reflectance, but we really don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. Glass doors are going to be a very nice piece versus a solid. Just building forward, like I said. Here's our material palette designed to be compatible with the Oak Point neighborhood as well.
Is that stone synthetic or real stone, the gray stone?
This would be a stick, basically an application to a tilt wall, basically. Yes, sir.
It's a synthetic. It's not a real cut stone.
It would be a real cut stone. They're just thin. It's like a thin brick, thin stone. Yes.
It's an applied to the front rather than
Right.
Yeah.
brick wall or. No, usually it's a very thin cut stone that's applied as an application rather than a brick ledge stack.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. All right, and again, I just want to keep calling it Boulevard 26. I come from the time where I used to live in the city, where it was thought that Colleyville Boulevard would be a boulevard as you run up and down 26. The town center here was designed for that purpose as well. So we want to honor that. Our really is captured by this picture right here. When you're driving by, what we want motorists and folks coming to visit the property to see when they enter the property is landscaping and building. We don't want to see a parking lot or any parking or concrete between the boulevard and it also lends well for the folks that you can imagine that own these. My dad's one of those guys that would bring his dog to work and all that good stuff. So you can bring your pets and enjoy and program this space out here as well. The PD landscape plans, which you're looking at right We're really looking to dress up the frontage as well. I just showed this picture here, so when you drive by and you're looking east of the property, this is kind of what we want to see here with berms, some terrain, not just a flat, kind of bland piece of grass. We want to make sure we have a high amount of plantings, especially here. When you're coming from the north, you can look in. All you'll see is landscaping and nicely designed buildings, basically, and up here as well. Ben mentioned we are looking to maintain these very significant old trees on the property as well. It looks like we'll be able to do that, so we're very happy about that.
Excuse me, Sky?
Yes, sir.
One of the questions too was, can you get us the landscape plan? Maybe it's a little easier to read with some of the material outlined. Because I think that your elevation along the 26 is actually beautiful to pictures. It's just a plan that maybe we can check the material because we have someone who wants to look at it on staff. And then also on the corner for Lot 1 that is not proposed for development right now, there's not really a landscape plan there, of course, because there's not a development right now. And so this corner especially would be a really exceptional corner. And so would you guys have a problem with there being some language relating to that that says that that landscape plan, in addition to the standards where it says it meets the code, either would be, a staff review, or we don't think you should have to come back through a process, but if you have a use that meets those zoning classes, there might be some opportunity to do some enhanced landscaping on that corner that would dress that up.
Sure, yeah, no, it's a line that says something to the tune of, upon the development of Lot 1, it comes back to review by the director or something like.
Yes.
We're very happy to do that, yes, sir.
Absolutely, yeah. So you wouldn't infringe upon your zoning rights other than if you had a special use anyway.
Yeah.
You could still proceed, but you'd have that extra.
Right,
Thank
that
you.
worked for us.
Could I just ask, who will maintain all the landscaping? Is there a VOA or some kind of
A
association?
POA,
Okay.
yeah, so Property Owners Association, much like an HOA, they'll have
Great.
filed. Sir.
Okay, sorry, one more question about
Yeah.
landscaping. I apologize. In between the units, in the buildings, where do you have any plan to try to either maybe put some elevated pots along the building or some pockets? Because I can understand why there's not a lot of landscaping in there, but it'd be nice to have just a pop of different color. And maybe the way to do that is with elevated pots as opposed to, actual beds. And so maybe they could be highlighted as part of, the individual unit members' entrance feature or something like that. Because I think as you get to the back, they're less prevalent.
Yeah.
But especially like on the corners where you have highlight points, those might be areas where they actually have greater value, and then maybe peppered in between, to go. They don't have to be substantial, but I think they'll add to the quality you're looking for, and I think your
Yeah.
tenants would probably appreciate them, and they're not a big cost.
Yeah, no, we're open to that as well. I think that would just add to the development.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, here, I'll get through this here. So the form-based concept we talked about, making sure that we don't have any parking between. Let me get to kind of the main guy here. So we had a lot of conversation with the villas and the neighborhood there, and essentially this shared southern border. So we're just showing basically a double to triple row in some areas of tree plantings. I guess the only thing I'll add to what Ben said, we're looking to do a stellar job on our shared boundary. Kathy Milky, I don't know if she's here today, but she lives immediately adjacent to, she's one of these townhome owners. And so what she would like is for all the large canopy trees to be evergreen or some kind of cedar or something like that, a non-deciduous tree that doesn't lose its leaves during the just like these oaks did in these pictures that you see here. So we want to fill this in. The concern that we have is if we plant too many evergreens, if we go too much, oak or too much whatever, it's going to create a bad situation. So we would just want to make sure that we're creating a left picture versus a right one. And but we're happy if City Council wants to put in an additional line of landscaping language that says something to the tune of all large canopy trees must be evergreen or some kind of a cedar material. We're happy to introduce that, but there's a lot of reasons why you don't really want to go with too many of one type from a lot of good folks that you can reference. So whatever we want to do there. We just want to make sure that we are planting a lot in between us and them, basically, at the end of the day, to respect them and make sure that they enjoy what they have when everything's said and done. You can also notice we're about 90 feet away from our structures, from the back shared property line as well, with 25-foot normal setback for any normal development. So we wanted to make sure we provided that as well. And quickly, this is the eastern portion of the PD. Again, Ms. Elder, going back to your question about the PD, we have to landscape the remaining piece as well. So that goes around, swings around to the east side and that eastern shared border. So we must plant certain trees. And again, we want to make sure we did a good job there. There's a lot of existing trees on the south side that are circled that you see with the big perfect circles. The ones that don't have the big perfect circles are ones that we're introducing to the site. So we fill in all those gaps to make sure that that buffer is solid. And here's lot one. We are planning to do certain planting. So basically all the existing trees that you see here, the existing ones that you see in the top right picture there, we're going to have a double row of trees. So the existing magnolias along Oak Point, we'll have additional plantings going with those. And of course, along the existing screening wall. Access and traffic safety, I think we've had discussions here. Unfortunately, these are our only 2 points of access. This was a big deal with the neighborhood. I think they had an instance one time when an 18-wheeler came down Oak Point Drive, got stuck, and actually got stuck on my client's lot. And it was a fiasco apparently that day. Unfortunately, our primary and secondary access is really the only places you can get this per TxDOT standards. What we've done is we've designed the main access off Highway 26 to be very wide, 30, 32 feet. So that way, that'd be more conducive towards getting the trailers in to bring the car collections and all that. The use doesn't really command, distribution and things like that, so we don't expect heavy vehicles to be demanded that often. Just to really deliver the tenants' stuff and to vacate the property. This is kind of a little bit older, but we just want to assure that the drainage and detention that we're designing must be approved by the city before we're allowed to turn anything a piece of dirt. So we will make sure that any kind of underground drainage system that we have circled here in blue will be done in conformance and will be approved by the city before we're allowed to move to any other step in our development process. Lot one is preliminarily designed for drainage and detention. And the developer of that lot will, of course, have to adhere to those standards at the time of that development as well.
So Sky, I'm sorry, so are you including lot one in your calculation, so they won't need detention at the time? Or are they not included, lot one?
Yeah, lot one is only preliminary right now. So they don't, they will require some level, but what that's going to be, it'll depend on that.
Yeah, it'd just be nice if you had them, but I understand it's an expense you don't need to.
Yeah. But they'll have to get through approval. And again, our public outreach, I just want to quickly go through this and enjoy this process. It's one of my favorite projects I've worked on, actually, getting to know some folks around here. Back in spring 2024, we met with the neighborhood initially at the Colleyville Center, met with the mayor and upper city management, so I appreciate that conversation that we had back in the summer. Unfortunately, we ran into some hiccups and some unfortunate occurrences after that with our own team. So we had some lull there as we got into the fall and winter. Picked back up with the neighborhood in February 2025. At that meeting, I actually found out some of the concerns weren't really that big. It was more just after 20 years or so of reviewing plans, I just forget that not everybody does that every day. So there were lines that certain people just thought were other things, gates here and other things there that just, it was actually just a property boundary or something like that. So we worked out a lot of that, a lot of those issues. Opposition here today. And where do these work? I talked about this earlier. So quickly, Frisco, Allen, Carrollton, Roanoke, Dallas, Lake Dallas. Magnolia, which is just outside of the Houstons to the west. Katy and San Antonio are where you'll find these. There are a couple others in development right now as well around the state. And I picked on the Katy location because it resembled our location the most. The homes that you see in the back here, they're pretty substantial. They're $750,000 homes in Katy. Katy's a pretty well-to-do neighborhood or city outside of Houston, if you've ever been down there. So what I did was I did a PIR request, public information request for Garages of Texas dating back to 2020, just to see what kind of neighbors they were, to see if there were any kind of complaints from the neighbors, anything. And there were a couple, but really it was two deals where A person purchased their unit, came in, and they were very excited, and the electrical contractor came in and forgot to pull a permit. And so that was basically the two items that were associated with this. Otherwise, it's been a really good neighbor in Katy, no complaints or anything, and they don't have any kind of additional landscaping or anything like that. So this is a very quiet, good use, and a good neighbor. We're excited to come to the city and get this done. So we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
One is, are these units only for sale, or will there be lease opportunities?
No, we're committing only to sale.
Okay.
Yeah, especially from the response we were getting, we were pretty confident in the for sale product.
Do you ever have people buying 2 or 3 locations or units at a time and then trying to sell or release them themselves?
The CCNRs would not allow that scenario. So yeah, so say you were to swallow up 3 of them and try to sublease, you wouldn't be allowed to do that. We've kicked around, reflecting like an HOA. You have to be here for a year and own it, and then bring it back to try to get it approved by you guys. We just don't want to go through that. So we just want to commit to the ownership product. If it becomes an issue, we'll deal with it if it does.
Do you have an idea of how much, rough price range?
Yes, about $500,000 per unit.
Be buying one, damn it.
Say 5.
Do you finish these units out, or is it whoever purchases
That's
the
right.
unit?
Yes, whoever purchases the unit, yeah, they can finish it out however they please.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks,
I appreciate
guys.
it, Sky. Thank you for your hard work and working with our citizens, of course. With that being said, do we have any cards? No, I'm gonna open up public hearings. We have no cards. Would anybody wish to speak? See, nobody wishes to speak, so I'm gonna close the public hearing. This is a first reading and no vote will be taken, so we look forward to seeing you here in a couple weeks to finalize this out. Thank you, Sky. All right, we're gonna move forward. This is a first reading and public hearing of ordinance 0-25-2323. An ordinance of the city of Colleyville, Texas, approving an abandonment of right-of-way and quitclaim deed for a 0.1003 acre portion of the Old Church Road right-of-way, authorizing the city manager to execute and record the same, and authorizing an effective date. So Ben, you have this one.
I do. Thank you. So this is consideration of abandonment of right-of-way, and this was in relation to the plat that you guys saw, I think it was a couple months ago, or no, actually it was later last year, for the Wells Fargo property. The plat itself referenced that the right-of-way was being abandoned by an ordinance, and so this is really just to do it by ordinance. The process that was done previously was by resolution, but this just takes care of that inconsistency. So again, it's just for abandonment of this small right-of-way area to be then included into the Wells Fargo property. So this was the presentation that you saw previously. This is the description of the right-of-way area. It was a little over 4,000 square feet, about 4,500 square feet. It was incorporated into the plat, as you see here on the plat exhibit. That was filed last month, or actually it was February 27th, so a little over a month ago. But this is to officially quitclaim the area by ordinance to rectify that label that was on the plat itself. So very straightforward. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Okay, any questions? You want to explain?
No, this came from the city attorney, and so that's why poor Ben, he's coming back. This was already approved and disposed of, and the applicant agreed to pay for the right-of-way, and all parties were fine. The city attorney, looking at the document, expressed concern that there was a creation by ordinance, there should be an absolution or a dissolution by ordinance, and so that's why the procedural aspect of this.
Okay.
It wasn't really anything more than that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, that was it, yeah.
And what's weird is it's a little bitty piece that goes into the entrance that how we ended up with it, I don't know, but anyways, it totally belongs over there.
We have no idea.
That property. When they brought it to us, we were like, whoa.
You can have the property, but no way to get into it.
Nothing to do.
You have to pay us to get in.
We were totally shocked when they brought it to us. We were like, what? Let us look at that.
A
So,
little toll.
Stuff like this happens from time to time.
matter of fact, I don't think it goes that far. I think it actually cuts like somewhere close to that, so. Okay, all right. Well, thank you, Ben. I'm going to open a public hearing. Would anybody like to speak? See, nobody wishes to speak, so I'm going to close the public hearing. So this is a first reading, and no vote will be taken on this one either. All right, moving to the next. So this is 6A, a resolution reading and public hearing of Resolution R-25.
Ordinance. What'd you say? It's the first reading of an ordinance.
Maybe not.
Yeah, no, an ordinances by charter have to be too, so it doesn't
Got to
matter.
come back.
Well, let's do this. Hey, Ernie, what do you think?
I think that it has to be too. If there's an exception I'm unaware of, then so be it, but.
Okay, so there will be two. We got the other boss lady telling us what to do over here, so we'll take her suggestion. So this is a resolution reading a public hearing of Resolution R-25-5029. A resolution approving a minor plat for Lot 1, Block 1, Midland Edition, whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the minor plat with waiver for Lot 1, Block 1, Midland Edition. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Colleyville, Texas, Section 1, that Lot 1, Block 1, Midland Edition, being approximately 1.41 acres, attached as Exhibit A, is hereby approved, and so it is resolved. All right, Big Ben, you're up again.
Thank you. So this is a minor plat with a waiver for lot width being requested. This is at 5816 Bettinger Drive. So here's an aerial of the property. There was a house that existed on this property at one time that has been removed. The intent is to plat the property in order to obtain a building permit for a new house. It is currently zoned R40, single-family residential, and designated for residential use. So here's some different perspectives of the property. So again, that house, the existing house, is to be removed, and a new house is being proposed. In looking at the property in relation to the minimum standards for the R40 district, it does just barely miss compliance with the minimum lot width. The zoning requires 150 feet, it's 148.5 feet. Here's the plat itself. I'll zoom in just a little bit. And so it is a single lot plat. Typically, you wouldn't see a single lot plat, but because it is deficient in that lot width, it does have that plat waiver request, 148.5 feet. We did send notices out to surrounding property owners, did not receive any responses back. Staff does recommend approval of this plat, as does the Planning and Zoning Commission, to include the plat waiver. They voted 6-0 at their March 10th meeting.
Okay. I know it seems silly for us to do that, but by law, we must do it correctly. And so I think I know the sentiment of everybody up here. Would anybody else like to speak about this before Ben leaves? All right, I think, in my opinion, only the 1.5 feet, I think, a given that we can do this. So there is an applicant if Sean wants to speak. If not, then we'll just move forward. Sean? No? Okay. Well, then what we're going to do is we're going to open a public hearing. A public hearing is open. Would anybody like to speak? Nobody wishes to speak. I'm going to close a public hearing, and there is
A motion to adopt resolution R-25-5029.
I'll second.
all right. I have a motion by Councilman Graves and a motion is approved and passed, 7-0. All right, 6B was a resolution and reading and public hearing of Resolution R-25-5030, approving a plat for Lots 1 R1, Lot 1 R2, Block 1, Town Center Animal Hospital Edition. Whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the replat of Lots 1R1 and 1R2, Block 1, Town Center Animal Hospital Edition on March 10th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Colleyville, Texas, Section 1, that lots 1R1 and 1R2, Block 1, Town Center, Animal Hospital Edition, being approximately 4.75 acres attached as Exhibit A, is hereby approved, and so it is resolved. All right, Ben?
All right, thank you. So this is replat to create two lots out of one platted lot at 4313 Colleyville Boulevard. Here's an aerial map of the property. So this is between Journey Church and the new vet clinic there close to Brown Trail. The Walgreens is at the corner. So this is a single platted lot that they want to subdivide into two lots. The front lot adjacent to Colleyville Boulevard is intended for the new Kitty Daycare Academy building that was approved by the council earlier. The back portion will remain with the CC2 zoning. It will remain, I think it belongs to the church, and they'll just remain as open fields for, I guess, practice fields for different sports. So different perspectives of the property. You can see the new vet clinic there to the left. So again, this property, this new lot will be for the Kitty Academy. So again, this is just to create those two lots. The Kitty Academy would be purchasing that front lot, and the back portion would remain with the church. We did send notice out to surrounding property owners, did not receive any responses for this item. Staff recommends approval, as does the Planning and Zoning Commission. They voted 6-0 at their March 10th meeting. Be glad to answer any questions.
Hold on a second.
Hold on
Don't
one
move.
second, right there.
So daycare center's here, animal hospital's here, Walgreens here, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And so this is already built, and then the new daycare center we just recently approved, council just recently approved, is now this is being, a lot being created for it.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Somebody drew last, it wasn't me.
Bill, here, let me see if I can.
Whoever the last person to draw must have control. Ben.
Ben,
Oh,
There you
go, Ben.
go.
It's
Oh,
you.
now it's working.
the other Ben. What a mess. Okay, all right, so.
I just have one question concerning this lot, but if it's ever developed, will there ever be any fire lane restrictions because there's only one out now? Do you know what I'm asking?
I believe that is already
I think it's-
designated for emergency.
Okay, just want to make sure they weren't kind of locked in and you couldn't develop it, or,
Yeah, so you can see there is a drive lane that's already constructed
Yeah.
today. And so that will remain.
they don't need two
They'd have to have a loop in
exits.
right now.
So they're also going to connect to the church ingress.
Right there?
Yeah, and Ben, on the back of the plat, on the plat for this lot, there is a 30-foot common access easement.
Okay.
So I think that was granted to each of these lots as they were sold off by the church for
Right.
that cross-access.
Okay, just want to ask that, we didn't need some lane through there to,
Right.
Yeah, so
for
they'll
that one
have,
to,
I think they'll connect to that existing drive lane to the rear of their building, and up closer to Colleyville Boulevard, they'll connect to that drive lane shared
Okay.
with the church.
gotcha.
There'll likely be an office use, though, because it is commercially zoned back there.
Yeah, it is CC1, I think is what I said.
CC2, I think? Yeah,
Probably offices, yeah.
so, makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? All right, is Miss Stephanie here? Does she want to speak about it or anything? Okay, see, she's not here, so with that, I'm going to open a public hearing. A public hearing is now open. Anybody would like to speak? See nobody wish to speak, so I'm going to close the public hearing. And so with this, we will take a motion in a second.
Motion to approve resolution R25-5030.
Second.
Who said second? Was that you? Okay, so we got a motion by Councilman Alfonso and then a second by Councilman Ray.
Councilman Candy.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay, so we're up to citizen comments. Do we have any cards? Anybody want to speak in citizen comments? See, nobody does, so with that, I'm going to move forward to the next. Anybody else want to talk about anything or delay this a little bit longer? Oh, reports. If there's no objection, I will adjourn the meeting to 8:35. Greg, cool. Good job, everybody.
Sky, he did a good job. He really